PCX to everyone, and welcome to our session Learning from Each Other, where we will be following Cosnova's D2C CX journey today. My name is Hamna, and I'm part of the pre-sales team here at Pisano, and I'll be the moderator for this session today. I'm also very pleased to announce our guest speaker, Eray Avcıoğlu. Eray handles CRM and loyalty at Cosnova. So, Eray, could you please introduce yourself and share a little bit about your background and your journey so far?
Sure, Hamna. It's great to be with you today, and thanks for having me. And greetings to our CX community from Berlin, and happy CX Day to all of us. I am Eray Avcıoğlu, and I have more than a decade of experience in CRM and loyalty, as you mentioned, and I recently took on consumer care as well. I'm an engineer and data scientist by education, but I have been a marketer since the day I graduated from the university. Previously, I worked at Ford Motor Company and Koç Finans in Turkey, Bonify and Sender in Germany. And I have been with Cosnova Beauty for the last 2 years and a half. And as I said, I'm based in Berlin. I can say I have experienced startups, scale-ups, and big holding companies in the last 11 years of my professional life. In parallel, I'm one of the founding members of the European Loyalty Association, and I'm co-leading the hub for the last 2 years.
I think it's very interesting to hear from someone that has such a diverse background, and I'm very excited to see how that has shaped your perspective on CX. And before we dive into Cosnova's journey, Eray, I just want to set the stage a little bit. So, in your view, what makes a D2C model crucial for building strong relationships with consumers today, especially within the retail sector?
I can directly relate that, and I can directly compare it with B2B2C business because we have both B2B2C and also D2C. D2C gives you direct line to your consumer. It might sound a cliche, but you own the first party data, and then you can enrich it with zero party data. You can directly get real feedback from your consumers without any intermediaries. And you definitely own end-to-end experience. What I mean is the content, the service, the post-purchase communication, everything. You are not just a brand on the shelf, but you totally own it. And in addition to that, you can definitely test and learn at high speed, and then you can scale proven ideas back into the retail. And as I'm an expert of loyalty, I would mention a bit about loyalty here. It definitely future-proofs your loyalty program. Your relationship with your customer live with you and not only with a retailer.
And I think that's absolutely crucial within the retail industry. Now that since we do have a global audience and they might know about Essence and Catrice, but they might not know about the brand or the company behind these brands. So could you take us on to Cosnova's story and how this D2C journey really began?
Yeah, sure. Then I'm sharing my screen. I believe you can see it now.
Yes.
As you said, I know our audience is global. So let me briefly introduce Cosnova Beauty to all of you. As you mentioned, some of our audience might know our big brands, Essence and Catrice, but not the company behind them, which is Cosnova. So Cosnova is a global family-owned business. We are strongly influenced by our founders, and we are in our third decade with around 900 people across the world. The journey started at a kitchen table in 2001, and after 6 years, we became the market leader by volume in Germany in 2007. And after another 6 years, we become the market leader by volume in the continental Europe in 2013. And last year was an important year for us because for the first time, we have passed $1 billion threshold in global sales. And now we have, yeah, thank you so much. And we are not stopping there. We have now bigger goals for 2031, which is the end of our third decade. So our mission as a company to make everyone feel more beautiful. And our vision is to become the most consumer-centric, first-to-mass, #1 makeup company around the globe. At the same time, I would like to give a quick note on our business model. Our main revenue driver is sales to our partners, mostly the drugstores. You can find our main brands, Essence and Catrice, almost everywhere, especially in Germany and DACH region, but also in Europe and also around the globe. We have been improving our distribution channels every single day. We are also shoppable in our own websites in some markets like United States, and we are also shoppable with some of our niche brands in Germany. As you can imagine, customer profiles have a lot of similarities across those brands and markets, but also they differ a lot. For example, Essence, our largest brand, most of its customers are Gen Z, and Gen Alpha also has been increasing its share in the mix. And in your invitation, you asked me to reflect on which trends shaping how we do business in 2025 at Cosnova. I have to say that we started by acknowledging what we didn't know. Our D2C CX journey really began in Q4 2023 when the company decided to launch D2C operations after several years not having it. And then hired some experts from the Berlin ecosystem, including me, in summer of 2023. And then we acquired or launched some new brands to test and learn on the D2C ecosystem. The goal was to bring that D2C knowledge back to Essence and Catrice. And in the last 2 years, we have built D2C from scratch for 3 brands with a startup mindset, I would say. So we have chosen an ecosystem that needs minimal development efforts, uses native integrations, and give us room to test, learn, and support Cosnova's third decade goals. So I believe I can split our 2025 milestones into 2 buckets. First one is about what we have learned about ourselves, and the second one is what we have learned about our customers, and I can present them in 7 pillars. The first one I want to mention is self-awareness. It's our first learning about ourselves. CX is not a side responsibility. We used to work in silos. Many people had a lot of ideas about CX, but we weren't improving it systematically. Although our consumers are global, almost everything was handled centrally. So the leadership team decided to create an HQ, headquarters, and hub structure to think globally, but also act locally. My team, which was New Venture Hub, also turned into global martech and digital products team because this D2C CX journey was not a venture for us anymore. It had to be a core capability. So now we are building a martech-driven, customer-centric approach. It's less product-driven, and we are now putting the customer at the very core of pairing experienced marketers with strong technical knowledge. Speaking of the technical knowledge and technology, my second pillar comes, which is human and AI harmony. On the consumer side, the shifts were even bigger than it was for us. A turning point in this journey was partnering with OpenAI at the enterprise level and embedding AI into our daily operations. We had 2 purposes. First, it would make work easier for our employees, for Cosnova employees. And the second one, it would make our consumers' experience smoother on the front end. Our goal has never been to let AI do everything, but we have been trying to automate the routine so humans have more space for empathy and some creativity, I would say. As I also said at the beginning, I took over the consumer care this summer, and the first thing I did was a performance assessment. And what I found was a shocking moment for me. I noticed that we had thousands, exactly 3,000 unresolved tickets in the legal queue, but they had nothing to do with the legal team. The expensive and legacy tool had broken and needed some development work, but the deeper issue was the consumer behavior. So our consumers were trying to find a way to get our attention, and choosing legal or urgent from a drop-down list on our contact form was the only way. They were avoiding an irrelevant automated message or direct closer. So many did. They have picked legal and urgent topics, even though they had nothing to do with the legal team. The takeaway, we needed to redesign this with CX in mind. And now we are rebuilding automation and escalation rules by category, brand, and market, but by keeping CX in mind.
So when you uncovered those 3,000 tickets that were sitting in the legal queue, it really showed that your customers, how far they would go to, connect with you and
Yeah,
to be heard. And
exactly.
it also highlights this gap where between what companies think customers want versus what customers actually need. So
Mhm.
I would like to ask you, how did this experience change the way you think about designing customer journeys? And how do you make sure that customers are truly heard now?
Yeah, perfect question. And in those forms, they were selecting from a drop-down list, but they also had a free text area. So it might be that they were choosing legal or urgent, but at the same time, they were sending us a totally different message. And it could be in any language, German, English, French, Italian. So we needed to understand what they were actually about. It was obvious it's not about legal, but what it was about. So we started with a detailed text analytics. And since that incident, I would say we have been working in a way we question the intent of our consumers all the time, not just what they selected from a drop-down list. And by doing that, now we also have more bandwidth for the social media engagement. And this is not something we automated. But we also have embedded some rule-based approach, and now we know how much time we should spend on a specific type of engagement on social media. And this gives us the luxury or privilege to say that now it's about what our consumers are saying, differently from previously what we were persisting with. Now it's only about what they are saying. And speaking of I would say AI is not limited to consumer care only. We use it heavily in marketing automation and insight generation as well. It can be through the tools from our vendors directly, or we have also developed some in-house engines. At the same time, we have prioritized generative engine optimization as a part of our SEO efforts. We have a specialist who keeps us updated all the time around our own generative engine optimization. And as digital marketing team, we meet bi-weekly and we run 2 to 3 20-minute share outs. So every colleague under the digital marketing team can present their learnings or new features they're about to launch, or the features they have already launched, and they can share their ways or understandings of how to improve CX. And at the same time, we are super careful not to sound mechanical or make consumers feel that they have lost the human touch by embedding AI so much. That's my red line, that's the team's red line. Maybe I can say at least until we start selling to AI directly. But right now, we know that people want technology to enhance, but not replace the human interaction. And then I'd like to mention our next pillar, which is community, focusing on superfans and Roblox. Beauty, especially color cosmetics, it lives on social media. Influencers, or the name we call them skinfluencers, can shape the destiny of a product or even a brand directly. And it's not only about our influencers, our consumers create a lot of UGC, I mean, user generated content. They tag us on social media, especially on Instagram. They comment on every post of us. They DM us all the time. So we have understood that the communities are the cornerstone of connection and purpose. So what we do is now we prioritize platforms and communication styles that would nurture community feeling, that would add some feeling of belonging, or it will definitely help us to grow brand love And one of the ultimate goal is to create brand advocates rights. And I can easily say that our community management team has been doing great work finding and nurturing super fans on every platform, even unexpected ones for Germany like Snapchat or and Pinterest. And at the same time, the mainstream focus is always on Instagram and TikTok because they are too big to ignore. The focus
Mm.
is always going to be, or at least for now, on Instagram and TikTok. So I can say we combine online engagements with some in real life events to create win-win situation. Super fans, they get access or they get early access or first access to new products. They have direct access to our brand managers. And many of them even jump into answer some questions addressing us on social media. So I can say that we have created some brand advocates already. And the harmony between the MarTech team and community management is paying off because we wouldn't achieve this without this harmony. And we also see this directly in some qualitative search results. As I mentioned, Gen Z and Gen Alpha gaming is something you cannot really ignore. As I mentioned here, Roblox, and we have chosen Roblox as our main gaming platform, and we have invested in building a unique experience, a unique Essence experience on Roblox. The collective time spent with Essence on Roblox already exceeds 200 years,
Wow.
and we are approaching 200,000 community members, and they have grown 100% organically. And we recently showed up at Gamescom in Köln, in Germany, and met with gamers in real life. So we can define it as a signal of beauty's growing role in the gaming industry as well. And we're not going to stop there. We're aiming bigger for Q4 for with Roblox. We are going to update the ecosystem, our Essence experience on Roblox. And we are also now discussing about some integrations between gaming and D2C. So the purpose here is to create genuine, not artificial experiences, matching gaming experience with in real life experience. And I would like to quote my dear colleague, Sarah, Digital Brand Experience Manager at Cosnova. She said something about the Gamescom event. It was a cultural signal that beauty belongs wherever creativity thrives. If there is something to do with creativity, the beauty will thrive there. And after that, I can also mention my next pillar. It's the benchmarking. And I always see this as a very valuable free learning for us. Every day, I spend up to 30 minutes, also sometimes during the weekend, reviewing the communications from our competitors, maybe non-competitors, some other companies in the industry, some companies from different industries, and even also luxury brands. And as a loyalty expert, I try to join as many loyalty programs as I can. And sometimes I just observe, but sometimes I become a real customer and I just enjoy the perks coming from the loyalty programs. Most of the time, I really enjoy the great work from my peers. And sometimes I'm shocked to see receiving an email starts with quote unquote, hello customer. What I do with those learnings are I try to reverse engineer what I see, refine my notes, and then share them with designers, junior CRM managers, junior loyalty managers, and also with brand team as a benchmarking deck. But at Cosnova, it's not just me. Everyone contribute in their own area. As I said previously, our team get-togethers are super efficient, and you see everyone in those meetings from our CMO to our working students. And finally, you also have an internal library updated weekly, if not daily, so we can track all the trends, updates, wins, and fails in beauty industry. So I would say this supports our iterative improvement on a daily basis. And then I can mention about the data-driven creativity. So this is a term I have been using maybe for the last 7, 8 years. As a loyalty expert, I really enjoy using the loyalty data to provide tailored product suggestions, some beauty tips, or promotions directly addressing our customers according to their own data. So this helps us to make each experience more personal. Every Wednesday, we meet with the brand team to review what went well, what didn't, and how we can improve. So it's an iterative process between us and the brand team. Maybe I'm not satisfied what we have achieved so far, but we have a solid plan for 2026. So my second to last pillar is transparency and honesty. And I have to admit that we learned this in a hard way, that you have to earn zero-party data. We were always GDPR compliant, and we will always prioritize this. But when we were launching our D2C brands in 2023, we were super ambitious, and we might be a little bit overconfident about customer acquisition. So we leaned heavily on raffles and giveaways, and we managed to multiply our customer database multiple times. But then we struggled with something, which is the engagement of those consumers. The relationship felt artificial, I would say. So we wanted to switch to a healthier and more transparent growth. Now we don't ask for data without a clear reason, and we make sure that it creates a direct value for our consumers. So next one, and the last one, inclusivity. I would say all customers, all consumers, but especially the younger generations, demand inclusivity. And we also ensure our product releases cover every possible skin shade. We review every asset for accessibility, and we proudly represent all ages, genders, cultural backgrounds, and also languages in our communication. Having this said, I would like to also mention the next big thing for Cosnova. Everything I have shared so far points to one direction. We need to consolidate all those under one umbrella, and we need to give it a clear purpose. And I believe we should be building an engine that makes everyone who engages with us, whether buying online or offline, commenting, creating UGC, or DMing us, they all should feel delighted. So I would say stay tuned and feel beautiful with Cosnova brands.
I think that's a great message. And thank you so much for this insightful presentation.
My pleasure.
It's great to see step by step how you're building this journey. And one thing that you mentioned that really stuck out was that CX can't be a side responsibility, which is very crucial to understand. So from the consumer's point of view, what do you think changed that once Cosnova adopted CX as a core responsibility?
Yeah, and this is a very recent change at Cosnova. However, I can directly say that now we are present wherever our consumers are, and we have accepted the way they want to engage with us. So we are not trying to direct them in a way, but we are just accepting, embracing the way they want to engage with us. I can also add that with the headquarter and hub structure, we will have a better local communication. It will start immediately. It's already started, but at the same time, we will definitely keep the global CX mindset. And this will also help us to communicate in a more human way, not mechanic. And instead of being silent, we will updating our consumers proactively, I would say.
When we talk about daily operations, obviously AI is a big part of that conversation. And I really found your view on AI very refreshing, because in a time where there is so much rapid growth and hype with AI, it's very encouraging to see a company that is focusing on empathy and the human experience. So how do you make sure, how do you draw that line between automation that supports customers and make sure they are feeling cared for rather than them just being processed by a machine?
Yeah, as you mentioned, supporting customer is the thing. We also define consumer care. What we did First, we wanted to build a self-navigating help page system. It's not published yet, but it's also very high priority. And those documents will get the final touch from the brand team. So any communication we have will definitely have Essence brand or Catrice brand touch. So this is also a part of our transparency and honesty approach, I would say. And when it comes to MarTech, I have never deployed and I will never deploy anything if I'm not satisfied with the good results. So this is not an area we would accept the goods, but we would always go for perfection. And I would say it's not what the AI says only, but also how it says, like the tonality, the words it uses, and maybe shifting the language from friendly to polite if this is the approach from the consumer. And also what we are trying to achieve is not to ask more questions to consumers, but maybe get the automated CSAT or NPS score calculation by simply checking the communication between us and them. So we want to assess the success of conversation without even asking the consumers how they felt about it.
And I think that approach is exactly why Cosnova CX journey has been so successful, really diving deep into and finding out the root of the problem rather than just doing something over the top. So, along with that, I think the most interesting part that caught my attention, and I'm sure our audience also would like to learn more, was when you talked about Roblox and gaming, because
Mhm.
Roblox and gaming are very unconventional spaces for a beauty brand to be in. That's not
Mhm,
where you
mhm,
would
mhm,
think a
mhm.
beauty brand exists. So, how did you lean into that space, and exactly how do you convert that kind of engagement into brand loyalty?
Yeah, very, very good question. You are 100% right, but we also see the shift in this one as well. Beauty is a way of self-expression, and especially for our brand Essence, which is on Roblox, I mentioned that our consumers are mainly Gen Z and Gen Alpha. And gaming is also a way of self-expression and socializing for Gen Z and Gen Alpha. So I can easily say that the self-expression is the common point in this game. And we also believe that awareness is an extremely important factor that feeds loyalty all the time. So the ones who engage with us on Roblox, they see us again and again in the game. They join our challenges. They use our Roblox specific items to improve their characters or make their characters more like them in Roblox ecosystem. And this also means that we are a significant part of their social environment, right? It's, of course, a gamer would like to take that experience in real life as well. And our presence at Gamescom this year in Cologne was an example of that. But we are not stopping there. We're also working on projects on how to integrate gaming and D2C operations, create some real life events out of that, make it a part of our loyalty program. So I can say many to come in upcoming quarters.
That really does sound exciting, and we'll be looking forward to seeing how all the new changes that will be coming. And with that, Eray, I come to my last question, which would be that if you could give one piece of advice to brands that are just starting their CX journeys now, especially within loyalty and consumer care, what would you tell them to avoid? What would be the do's and don'ts that you would suggest?
Okay. So I would say start very humble. Do not try to make it perfect from the very beginning. In some pillars, I have said that we go for perfection, but in some pillars, Pareto rule applies. So this is one of them. When you start listening to your consumers, customers, even with a small portion of them for the beginning, you will see that the rest of the path will appear easy and quickly. Then all you need to do is to share the results, your insights, findings with a broader audience and get support of a broader stakeholder, I would say.
I think that's great advice. And thank you so much, Eray, for sharing
My pleasure.
Cosnova's journey with us today. And with that, our session today comes to an end. But I think what really stood out was understanding and seeing how you have combined technology, community, and empathy all together to put your consumers at the heart of your strategy. And that's really, really nice to see. And I think it also serves as a reminder that, especially on CX Day, there is so much for us to learn from each other. Uh, doesn't matter which industry we're from, doesn't matter which sector. There's a lot of advice and understanding and insights to get. And I would also like to thank our lovely audience for joining us for this session and our next session, which is breaking KPIs and unlocking the power of KIs, will be live tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. And until then, have a wonderful CX day. Thank you so much.
Happy CX Day, everyone.